Hey guys, this is Kirob speaking, and today I have the pleasure of announcing a little side project by Matt and myself, and that is the Cyclist Tactics. It is a turn-based cycling tactics game in a digital board game style with management elements. And in this video you're watching right now, we are going to talk about how this has affected automation or not, and address some of the inevitable questions that are going to come up. But first, let's take a look at what this project is, and let's just jump into the trailer and see what it's all about. So here we go. The Cyclist Tactics is a turn-based strategy game in which you lead a small team of professional cyclists from humble beginnings to competing in the toughest and most prestigious cycling events in the world. The game's focus is on the highly tactical races, with all stages being procedurally generated at the start of each season, making them unique. Despite its board game-like look, there are no dice rolling or RNG mechanics. Winning comes about when superior decision-making meets careful resource management and planning, making use of your rider's strengths in decisive moves. Teamwork is essential to keep your leaders protected, to avoid pesky peloton pulling duties, to create lactate threshold crushing leadouts, making attacks impossible, and to set up your sprinter in perfect position for that final dash. Starting with just yourself as a young cyclist and a handful of cash, good performances satisfy your sponsors and lets you develop your own rider and team members as they gain experience. Focusing on or mixing 6 different specializations and 5 different attributes makes riders progress from eager novices to monument-winning superstars with a hefty price tag, or deeply flawed athletes, or both. With a maximum roster of 6 riders and 9 races to pick each season, it doesn't take long or require spreadsheets to get your team lined up and ready to go. As such, management is simple, but not simplistic. The game not only is for tactically minded cycling enthusiasts, but anyone who fancies nuanced tactics where decision-making is king and at least has a tolerance for management games. Knowledge about cycling tactics sure helps, but is not required to get into it. Yep, there you have it. If you are intrigued, you could go over to my Kirob Plays channel and check out some more of the mechanics and background info, and head over to the game's Steam page and wishlist it. Also interesting might be the interview that I did with Benji, who is a fellow pro cycling manager YouTuber and in general quite active in the cycling world nowadays. All those things are linked below. But for now, I'm sure most of you are curious about where this is coming from, and probably also what it means for automation, if anything. So let's do a quick Q&A. So who's actually making this game? Well, it is Matt Dodd, who is the lead programmer and does all the programming and all the implementation for everything. And he has joined the team in January 2019 and has started work on this right from the get-go. So yes, the other person I need to mention there is, of course, Juha Kernen, very remotely working from Finland, and he is part-time doing the lead artist job of making all the in-race art stuff. And basically, I do everything else apart from music and other contractor works, and that is like concept, game design, systems, and all that good stuff. And then we also need to mention Michael Trott, because he has done the automation soundtrack, and how could we resist hiring him again for making the absolutely fantastic and already finished soundtrack for The Cyclist. And then there are a few other contractors, of course. What is the development timeline of The Cyclist? The game was prototyped as a physical board game in 2012 to 2014, before my camshaft software days, and that was done by myself. I wanted to make a cycling game, and because I wasn't able to program back then, I thought, let's make it as a board game, because I know how I potentially can do that, or it was a lot easier than learning to code. We started to properly developing the game in February 2019, and it is planned that we are a part of the Steam Game Festival starting on February 3rd, 2021. So that's just 2 months from now, yes. And you'll be able to play a demo of the game then. And release is scheduled for June 2021, likely without any early access phase attached to it. After that, we plan to continue our support for the game, of course, with small updates, fixes, and balance tweaks. And then you might wonder, is this taking away time from automation? And the only overlap between the Cyclist and automation is actually me. We have 7 core devs working on automation at the moment, plus several contractors, and I'm still working on automation as I've been working on the Cyclist, and have done so all the way since the start of the Cyclist development. Over the years of developing automation, a lot of features have been designed and prototyped by myself in spreadsheets, but have not yet made their way into the game. Like, for instance, the very recent addition of the new sales model that was developed like 5 years ago. So, hence, working part-time for automation for a while is enough to not slow down progress on automation, and I would estimate that so far, probably automation has been delayed by us doing this by maybe a week, if that. The effects seen are quite a bit more obvious in the frequency of little dev update videos, so as I've certainly skipped a few of those as I've been really busy splitting my time between Cyclist and automation. So, sorry about that. But okay, let's play devil's advocate and say that you're a negative Nancy and are asking, but really now, couldn't you have put Matt to work on automation instead? And the answer is yeah, probably, although that was not really what he joined the team for. And the fact is that while automation's development is slow, or perceived as slow, it is certainly not slow considering the small team size and the massive scope of the project. The game is doing better and better financially. It is doing well to start with, but it's doing better and better from there. But it is our only product and franchise. A little diversification we deemed to be the smarter choice here, considering that it doesn't impact automation's development negatively. Yeah, that's how it is. So what would Positive Nancy ask? Well, Positive Nancy asks, has the Cyclist benefited automation in any way? And the answer is yes, in several ways actually. At the start of its development, of the Cyclist's development, I completely reassessed how to best do the UI to show larger amounts of data in a nicer way and implement something much more readable and clean for the Cyclist than what we had for automation at that time. And the result of that was that we had a massive UI revamp in automation, which implemented all those things from the Cyclist, and it continues to influence what we are doing with automation and cleaning up UI. So, for instance, we have no more curved edges for data fields. We have gone to colored backgrounds instead of coloring text and numbers, and we don't have any more unnecessary borders which really clutter things down when you display lots of data fields, and we have less layering of backgrounds, and overall just a much cleaner look now. It's still, of course, some ways to go, but the Cyclist has had a very positive effect on automation's UI development in that sense. And there's one more point, which is one that you haven't seen just yet, but is going to be on especially the lore nerd's mind for the coming update. The Cyclist plays out in the same fictional universe as Automation's Light campaign, and if you've paid attention in the trailer, you've probably seen some of those race names that were on the list briefly flashing there, and they seemed oddly familiar, like the Tour of Gezmir or the Giro Fruinia. Well, yes, that's quite the synergy between the projects, and we have taken that opportunity to flesh out the game world, and the results of that will be a major change for the game world that will be very likely implemented in the Light Campaign v4.2 update. And more on that will come out as we get closer to it. And I think I want to keep this video nice and short. You leave your comments below. I'm more than willing to answer all of them, as long as they are somewhat reasonable. And I hope this has cleared up some of your questions around the game. And if you want to see more, don't forget about those links that I posted in the description down below. And if this seems to be your jam, if you're into nuanced tactics games with like lots of proper decision making where you only can blame yourself, then go ahead and please wishlist the game. Would be great to see. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and see you guys next time.